Wait, you do this for fun? Can I try? The alien girl lost all shame. Inside, the humans went about their daily routines, checking instruments, recording data, and making sure the colony operated without problems. It was quiet, organized, and calm. That was until the unexpected visitor appeared. Commander Hale was in his office reviewing the morning reports when he heard an unusual noise outside. It was not a warning alarm, nor the hum of machines. It was laughter. Light, melodic, and full of curiosity. Hale frowned. No one on the planet had been expected, and certainly no visitors were scheduled. He stepped onto the observation balcony and looked out. Across the grassy field near the landing pads, he saw a small figure moving gracefully. It was an alien, a girl, or at least she looked like a child to him, but her posture and confidence made her seem older. Her skin was a soft shade of blue-green, and her eyes were large, golden, and sparkling. She wore what appeared to be simple clothing, though its design was strange and unfamiliar, yet practical for movement. She moved as if the ground itself responded to her presence, a strange rhythm in her steps. "Lieutenant Arno," Hale called into his communicator. "Do you see that?" "Yes, Commander," Arno replied, voice tense. "It looks like an alien, but no, that can't be right. The scans show no life here except us." Hale narrowed his eyes. "Prepare a small team, approach carefully, but do not provoke. We don't know what we are dealing with." As the team assembled in their light armor, the alien girl noticed them. She waved energetically, her movements almost exaggerated in their expressiveness. Hale watched in disbelief. She was not hiding, not running, not showing fear. She was welcoming them, inviting them to come closer. When the humans approached, she ran a short distance toward them, then stopped and bowed slightly. "Hello," she said in a surprisingly clear accent. Her voice was musical, almost like a song. "I am Lyra. Who are you?" "What is this place?" Arno stepped forward, hands raised slightly to show no threat. "We are humans. This is a research outpost. And you are not from this planet, are you?" Lyra laughed again. "Of course not. This place is new. I am from the stars far away. I came to see what humans do. I heard stories. I wanted to see for myself." Hale's mind raced. "Stories? Who told you about humans?" Lyra tilted her head, smiling. "The wind, the planets, the comets. Everyone knows humans are curious, creative, and fun." "I had to see if it is true." Hale blinked. "Fun? You mean humans have fun?" Lyra clapped her hands. "Yes, I saw some humans on a holo recording. They danced, they laughed, they made games." "I want to try." She stepped forward and mimicked a simple human gesture, spinning once and landing on one foot. "Wait, you do this for fun? Can I try?" Her golden eyes shone with excitement. The humans exchanged glances. Hale raised a hand. "All right, everyone, stay calm. Observe, let's see what she does." Lyra dashed forward and picked up a small ball from the field. She tossed it high, caught it with her feet and then her knees, and then bounced it on her head before it rolled back to her hands. "I like this," she exclaimed. "It is like a dance. Teach me your games." Lieutenant Arno couldn't stop himself from smiling. "Commander, she's amazing. Look at her. She's never done this before, but she's incredible." Hale studied her. Lyra's movements were unlike any humans, but she adapted so quickly. Her gestures were fluid, almost artistic, yet precise. "All right," he said slowly. "If she wants to learn, we'll show her, but carefully, one thing at a time." The humans spent the rest of the morning teaching her a simple human game, a kind of tag mixed with a ball toss. Lyra watched with full attention, her head tilting to every instruction. When she didn't understand, she asked, never embarrassed, never ashamed. "Why do you run this way?" she asked once, tilting her body in a strange but elegant stance. "Why not this?" She demonstrated a completely new way to throw the ball, spinning her body with a twist and landing perfectly. The humans were stunned. "Commander," Arno said, "she's inventing new ways to play, faster, more creative. I've never seen anything like this." Hale nodded slowly, thinking. Humans were proud of their games and their sports, yet Lyra was taking them to a new level. She wasn't just copying, they were learning from her. And that was remarkable. By noon, the team had started to relax. Lyra was curious about everything, machines, plants, even the way the humans spoke. She asked question after question. "Why do you look at these screens? Why do you wear these suits? Why does your hair grow like that?" Each question was innocent but precise, and each answer had to be simple enough for her to understand. Her golden eyes never blinked in boredom, her curiosity was endless. After lunch, Hale suggested a demonstration of human virtual reality training. He wasn't sure she would be interested, but Lyra's reaction was immediate. Virtual reality? Yes, let me try. The humans guided her into a VR chamber. The moment she stepped in, she moved like she had done this 1,000 times. She ran through simulated forests, climbed mountains, and solved puzzle gates faster than the training program anticipated. The humans watching the monitors gasped. She's unreal, one of the engineers whispered. She's learning faster than any human trainee I've seen. Lyra laughed as she completed a particularly difficult obstacle course. I like this. Humans have so many fun things. I want to try everything. She spun in place, raising her hands in delight. This is wonderful. Can I do it again? Hale frowned slightly. Again, you've been here only a few hours. You need rest. Lyra pouted in the most alien way possible. Rest, but I just found humans. There is so much to see, so much to learn. She tilted her head, staring at him with golden eyes wide and eager. Do you not want to show me everything? Hale hesitated. He wasn't used to being challenged like this, especially by someone so young. But there was something infectious about her excitement, something that made him want to push limits. All right, he said slowly. One more activity, then you can rest. The team decided to take her outside, where the gravity was slightly weaker than Earth's. They showed her how to jump and run in the low gravity. Lyra's laughter rang across the field as she leaped higher than any human could. She tried somersaults, flips, and spins, always landing perfectly. The humans tried to keep up but failed spectacularly. Lyra's fearlessness and creativity were awe-inspiring. At one point, she stopped and looked around at the humans. You are amazing, she said softly. So slow, so careful, but your minds, I can feel them. You can think, create, and imagine. You can play, but you can also solve, build, and discover. I like this. Humans are very interesting. Her words were simple, but they carried a weight that made the humans pause. Hale felt a strange pride. He had always known humans could achieve great things, but seeing them through her eyes made him see it differently. They were clever, resilient, and full of potential, and Lyra had reminded them of that with nothing more than curiosity and joy. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Lyra finally sat down on the grass, breathing heavily but smiling. I am tired but happy. You are fun, very fun. I will learn more tomorrow, yes? I want to see everything humans can do. She looked at Hale. You will teach me, yes? Hale smiled. Yes, Lyra, we will teach you, but you must promise to rest too. Lyra's eyes sparkled. Rest for a little, then more fun tomorrow. Yes, promise. That night, as Hale watched the stars from his office, he thought about the strange twist of fate that had brought Lyra to them. She was an alien, yes, but she was more than that. She was a mirror, showing humans what they could be if they embraced curiosity, joy, and courage. He realized that the real adventure had only just begun. Lyra was not just learning from them, they were learning from her. And the galaxy, vast and mysterious, had a lot more surprises in store. Morning arrived slowly at the human outpost. Soft light from the twin suns spread across the metal walls and glass domes. Inside the living quarters, humans began their daily routines. Boots echoed in hallways, screens lit up with data, machines hummed in calm rhythm. But this morning felt different. There was excitement in the air, a quiet energy that everyone could feel. Lyra woke up early. She stood near the window of the guest quarters, watching the sky change colors. Her golden eyes reflected the stars fading away. She stretched her arms wide and took a deep breath. Humans wake early, she said to herself. That is good, more time to learn. Commander Hale was already awake when he received a message. She's up, Lieutenant Arno said through the communicator, and she's already asking questions. Hale sighed softly, then smiled. Of course she is. Bring her to the main hall. Let's start slow today. When Lyra entered the main hall, she looked around with wonder, as if she were seeing everything for the first time again. Humans sat at tables, eating breakfast and talking quietly. She walked closer, watching how they held cups, how they laughed, how they shared food. You eat together, she said. Is this also fun? Arno nodded. Sometimes it's just routine. Lyra tilted her head. Routine can still be fun if you like it. The humans paused. That simple statement made several of them smile. After breakfast, Hale gathered a small group. Today, he said, we'll show Lyra some basic human training activities, nothing dangerous, nothing complex. Lyra raised her hand quickly. Can I try everything? Hale raised an eyebrow. One thing at a time, she nodded quickly. Yes, one thing at a time, humans like steps. The first activity was the obstacle course. It was designed for human fitness training. Simple walls, balanced beams, timed jumps, and moving platforms. Humans used it to stay sharp in low-gravity environments. Lyra watched closely as Arno demonstrated. She did not interrupt. She did not rush. Her eyes followed every movement. "Now you try," Arno said. Lyra stepped forward. She placed one foot on the ground, testing the surface, then began. She moved fast, but not careless. She adapted to the gravity instantly. Where humans jumped, she flowed. Where humans climbed, she glided. She balanced on beams using her tail-like extension, something the humans had not noticed clearly before. She completed the course in half the expected time. The room went silent. "That was not normal," one engineer whispered. Lyra looked back. Was it wrong? Hale shook his head slowly. "No, it was impressive." Lyra smiled brightly. "Good, can I do it again, but slower? I want to feel it more." The humans stared at each other. She wasn't trying to win, she was trying to understand. Later that day, they introduced her to strategy games, table games with pieces and rules. Humans believed these games showed logic, planning, and patience. Lyra listened as Hale explained the rules. "The goal is to protect this piece while trying to reach the center." Lyra nodded. "Like guiding a child through a crowd." Hale blinked. "Yes, like that." When they started playing, Lyra did something strange. She did not rush to win. She moved pieces slowly, watching how Hale reacted. She learned his patterns. She adjusted. After several rounds, Hale leaned back. "You're learning fast." Lyra smiled softly. "You think ahead, but you think alone. I think in circles." "In circles?" Arno asked. She moved several pieces at once in a way that changed the board completely. "Humans think straight." "That is strong, but circles see more." The humans realized she was not just playing, she was teaching. In the afternoon, things went wrong. An engineer activated a training drone to demonstrate human reflex practice. The drone floated smoothly, projecting harmless light signals that humans had to dodge or block. Lyra watched eagerly. "Can I try?" Hale hesitated. "This one requires control." "I will be careful," Lyra said seriously. The drone activated. At first, Lyra moved perfectly. She dodged, spun, and laughed as the lights passed her. Then she did something unexpected. She touched the drone. The machine reacted instantly, shifting modes. Warning lights flashed. "Shut it down," Hale ordered. But before anyone could reach the control panel, the drone malfunctioned and split into several smaller units. They began moving unpredictably. Alarms rang softly through the hall. Lyra froze. "I am sorry," she said quickly. "I did not know." Hale raised his hand. "It's all right, just stay still." But Lyra did not stay still. She watched the drones carefully. Her eyes followed their movement patterns. Then she moved not randomly, but with purpose. She clapped her hands once sharply. The sound disrupted the drone's sensors. She jumped, spun, and landed between them, guiding their movement toward a corner where the engineers could safely shut them down. Within seconds, the room was calm again. Silence followed. Lyra lowered her head. "I did not mean to cause trouble." Hale walked toward her. "You didn't, you solved the problem." She looked up slowly. "I did." "Yes," Arno said. "Most humans would have panicked." Lyra thought for a moment. "Fear slows learning," she said simply. That evening, the humans gathered in the observation dome. The planet's sky was filled with stars. Lyra sat on the floor, legs crossed, listening as humans talked quietly. "You are not like other visitors," Hale said at last. Lyra looked at him. "Other visitors hide, or pretend, or follow rules they do not understand." "And you do?" Hale asked. She shook her head. "I do not see a reason to hide curiosity. I do not feel embarrassed by learning. Why should I?" No one answered. The question felt too big. Later, Lyra asked to see human stories. Humans showed her old recordings, explorers, athletes, inventors, artists, people who failed, tried again, and succeeded. Lyra watched closely. "Humans fall often," she said. "Yes," Hale replied, "but we get back up." She smiled. "That is why your stories travel so far." Before resting, Lyra stood by the window again. "Tomorrow," she said, "I want to try what humans fear most." The humans tensed. "Not danger," she added quickly. "I mean failure." Hale studied her carefully. "You already understand more than you think." Lyra turned toward him. "Humans play for joy. Humans work for progress. But humans fear looking foolish. I do not." That night, Hale recorded his thoughts. "Lyra is not here to copy us. She is here to remind us. Humans became strong not because we were perfect, but because we dared to try." Somewhere along the way, we forgot that. Outside, the stars watched silently as a human outpost changed, not through force or fear, but through curiosity shared between species. And tomorrow promised even greater challenges. The next day began with a quiet tension at the human outpost. The air felt heavier, not because of danger, but because of expectation. Lyra's words from the night before stayed in everyone's mind. "I want to try what humans fear most." Commander Hale stood in the control room looking at the activity schedules. Humans trained for many things: survival, exploration, defense, but fear of failure was never written on any list, and yet everyone knew it was there. Lyra arrived early, walking calmly into the room. She looked rested and focused. There was no wild excitement in her movements today. Instead, there was purpose. "Good morning," she said politely. "Good morning," Hale replied. "Are you sure about today?" Lyra nodded. "Yes. I want to understand humans better." Hale gathered the senior crew. Engineers, pilots, scientists, and trainers stood in a half circle. Lyra stood in the center, small but confident. "Today," Hale announced, "Lyra will join us in a live problem simulation, a real one." "No scripts," murmurs spread through the room. Lyra raised her hand. "I may fail," she said openly. Arno frowned. "That's a strange thing to say before starting." Lyra smiled softly. "That is why humans fear it." The simulation was simple in design but complex in execution. A supply satellite orbiting the planet had stopped responding. If it stayed inactive too long, it would fall out of orbit and burn up. Humans had trained for such cases many times, but this time, Lyra would be part of the team. She was placed in the secondary control seat. Screens lit up in front of her, filled with symbols and data. Lyra blinked. "Your symbols are very sharp," she said. "They like straight lines." "Yes," an engineer replied. "We prefer clarity," she nodded. "I will try to think straight then." The countdown began. At first, things went smoothly. The team sent commands. The satellite responded weakly, but then unexpected data appeared. A solar wave from the twin stars had damaged its sensors. "We're losing feedback," Arno said. Hale took a breath. "All right, switch to manual prediction." The room grew quiet. Humans worked fast, calculating paths, angles, and timing. Lyra watched. She did not interrupt. Then she spoke. "May I suggest something?" Hale hesitated for only a moment. "Go ahead." "The satellite is confused," Lyra said. "It does not know which voice to follow, too many commands." "That's how systems work," an engineer replied. "We have to override." Lyra shook her head gently. "No, you must guide, not force." She reached for the interface, but stopped. "May I?" Hale nodded. Lyra adjusted the signal pattern. She did not send commands in sharp bursts like humans did. Instead, she sent a slow, repeating signal. Simple, calm. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the satellite stabilized. Data returned to the screens. Cheers erupted. But Lyra did not smile. "That was too easy," she said quietly. Before anyone could ask what she meant, alarms sounded again. A second alert appeared, one the humans had not expected. The satellite's power core was overheating. If it failed, it could damage nearby orbital paths. "This wasn't in the simulation design," Arno said. "It's real," Hale said firmly. "All hands focus." Lyra's hands hovered over the controls. This time she looked uncertain. "I do not understand this part," she admitted. The room froze. A silence heavier than before settled in. Lyra looked around. "This is what humans feel," she said softly. "This fear, I see it now." Hale stepped closer. "We all feel it. The question is what we do next." Lyra took a deep breath. "Then I will try, even if I fail." She studied the data slowly, carefully. She asked questions, simple ones. What happens if this number reaches 0? That makes it lighter. She made her choice. Instead of trying to save all systems, she rerouted power away from non-essential parts. The satellite dimmed. Some functions went offline. Engineers gasped. "We're losing secondary systems?" "Yes," Lyra said calmly. "So we do not lose everything." The power core cooled. The satellite stabilized into a safe orbit. The alarm stopped. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Hale let out a long breath. "Simulation complete," he said. "Success!" Lyra finally smiled, but it was smaller than usual. "I felt it," she said. "Fear of being wrong." "And?" Arno asked. "It did not break me," she replied. "It taught me." Later that day, news spread through the outpost. Everyone wanted to see Lyra. Some were curious, some were doubtful. One pilot approached her during rest hours. "You don't hesitate like we do," he said. "Why?" Lyra thought. "I hesitate, but I do not hide it." In the evening, something unexpected happened. A group of visiting traders arrived at the outpost. They were not human. Tall, armored, and serious, they came to discuss resource exchange. When they saw Lyra walking freely among humans, their expressions changed. "That one," their leader said sharply, pointing. "Why is she not restricted?" Hale stepped forward. "She is a guest." The trader's eyes narrowed. "Her kind is known for reckless behavior, uncontrolled curiosity." Lyra heard every word. She walked forward calmly. "You think curiosity is weakness?" "It leads to mistakes," the trader replied. Lyra nodded. "Yes, and mistakes lead to learning." The trader scoffed. "Humans allow this?" Hale answered firmly. "Yes, we do." The trader looked at the humans, then at Lyra. "You let an outsider fail among you." Lyra smiled gently. "They let me try." That night, Lyra sat alone on the observation platform. The stars were bright. Hale joined her. "You handled that well." Lyra hugged her knees. "Some think I have no shame." "Do you?" Hale asked. She shook her head. "I feel shame. I simply do not let it stop me." Hale looked at the stars. "Humans forgot that once." Lyra turned to him. "You are remembering." As the stars drifted silently, both human and alien understood something important. Strength was not the absence of fear. It was the choice to move forward anyway. And tomorrow, that lesson would be tested in ways none of them expected. The warning came without drama. No loud alarms, no flashing red lights, just a soft tone and a single line of text on the main display. "Unknown vessels entering the system." Commander Hale read it twice, then he stood up straight. "Confirm," he said. Lieutenant Arno worked fast at the console. "Multiple ships. Not human, not traders, their signatures are irregular." "How many?" Hale asked. "5," Arno replied. "Small, fast, they're scanning the planet." The comm of the outpost vanished. Humans moved quickly but without panic. Doors sealed. Systems shifted to alert mode. Outside, the sky remained peaceful, but everyone inside felt the change. Lyra was in the research wing studying human maps. She felt the tension before anyone told her. The air felt different. Humans walked faster. Voices grew sharper. She followed the movement and arrived at the control room doorway. "What is happening?" she asked. Hale turned. "Unidentified visitors." Lyra stepped closer to the screen, her golden eyes focused. "They are watching, not attacking." "That doesn't make it better," Arno said. "Scans like that mean interest." Lyra nodded slowly. "Interest can become danger." One of the scientists spoke up. "Commander, they are requesting communication." Hale paused. "Open a channel, audio only." The screen flickered. A tall figure appeared, wrapped in dark armor with glowing lines across its surface. Its voice was calm but cold. "This human structure lies within unclaimed space," the figure said. "Explain your presence." Hale stood firm. "This is a peaceful research outpost." "We have caused no harm." The figure's gaze shifted. "We detected unusual activity, a non-human entity among you. Identify it." Lyra stepped forward before Hale could respond. "I am here," she said clearly. Hale glanced at her. "Lyra, it is all right," she said quietly. "They already know." The armored figure leaned closer to the screen. "You do not hide. Strange." Lyra tilted her head. "Why should I?" "Your kind avoids attention," the figure replied. Lyra smiled faintly. "I am learning from humans." That answer caused a pause. The figure spoke again. "Your presence disrupts balance. Curiosity unchecked leads to instability." Hale stepped forward. "She is our guest and our friend." "Friendship does not protect against consequences," the figure said. "We will observe." The screen went dark. The room remained silent for several seconds. "They didn't attack," Arno said slowly, "but they didn't leave either." Lyra looked thoughtful. "They are deciding." Hours passed. The unknown ship stayed at the edge of the system, silent but watching. Humans ran scans, prepared defenses they hoped not to use, and waited. Lyra moved through the outpost, speaking with humans one by one. She listened more than she talked. Engineers worried about systems. Scientists worried about data. Pilots worried about response time. "You are afraid," Lyra said gently to one engineer. "Yes," he admitted, "but we're ready." She nodded. "Fear and readiness can live together." As night fell, the tension grew. Hale gathered the senior crew and Lyra in the strategy room. "We don't know what they want," Hale said. "But they're cautious. That gives us time." Lyra looked at the star map. "They fear change," she said. "That is why they watch instead of act." "Can we talk to them again?" Arno asked. Lyra shook her head. "Not yet. They must see first." "See what?" Hale asked. Lyra turned to him. "How humans respond when watched." The next morning, the outpost resumed normal operations. At least it looked normal. Humans worked, trained, studied. They did not hide Lyra. They did not restrict her movement. She joined drills, helped in labs, and laughed with the crew. The unknown ships watched everything. "They're still scanning," Arno reported. "Let them," Hale said. Lyra stood beside him. "You are showing them trust." "Or stubbornness," Hale replied. She smiled. "Sometimes those look the same." Then something unexpected happened. A storm formed in the planet's upper atmosphere. Fast, violent, unstable, it interfered with sensors and communication. "This storm wasn't predicted," a scientist said urgently. "It's moving toward the outpost." "And the ships?" Hale asked. "They're in its path too." The unknown vessels began to shift formation. Their movements became erratic. "They're struggling," Arno said. "Their shields are reacting badly to the storm." Lyra's eyes widened. "Their technology does not adapt well." Hale made a quick decision. "Open a channel." The armored figure appeared again, this time with visible damage on the display. "Your storm disrupts our systems," it said sharply. "It's not ours," Hale replied, "but we can help." "Why?" the figure demanded. Lyra stepped forward. "Because humans help even when watched." There was hesitation, then the figure spoke. "We will accept guidance." Humans worked fast. They shared atmospheric data, safe paths, and timing windows. Lyra added her own insight, suggesting rhythm-based adjustments rather than fixed responses. The unknown ships followed the guidance. One by one, they stabilized. The storm passed. Silence returned to the stars. The channel remained open. "You chose to assist," the figure said slowly, "even under observation." Hale nodded. "We believe cooperation creates strength." The figure turned its gaze to Lyra. "And you," Lyra answered honestly, "I believe trying is better than hiding." The channel closed. Hours later, the ships moved away from the system. "They're leaving," Arno said, relief clear in his voice. Cheers spread through the outpost, but Lyra did not cheer. She watched the stars quietly. Hale joined her later. "You were right, they needed to see." Lyra nodded. "They saw humans act without shame, without fear of being judged." Hale smiled. "You've changed this place." Lyra shook her head. "Humans changed themselves, I only asked questions." As the outpost returned to calm, a message arrived, short, clear, observation complete. "No further action required." Lyra read it and smiled. "They learned," she said. "So did we," Hale replied. That night, as the stars shone quietly, humans rested easier. They had faced the unknown, been judged, and chosen to act with courage. And Lyra knew something important now. Humans were not interesting because they were fearless. They were interesting because they chose kindness and curiosity even when fear was watching. Tomorrow would bring the final lesson. The next morning, the outpost was quiet, but the air felt different. Lyra sat on the observation platform, her legs crossed, staring at the twin suns rising slowly above the horizon. Their light shone across the grassy plains and the metal structures of the outpost, giving everything a golden glow. She watched the stars fade and thought about the past few days. Humans had taught her many things: games, strategy, problem-solving, and even courage. But she had learned something too, something deeper. They were more than machines and schedules. They were creative, brave, and willing to face the unknown with open minds. That quality, Lyra realized, made humans extraordinary. Commander Hale approached, holding a cup of hot drink. "Good morning," he said softly. "You've been up a while." Lyra looked at him and smiled. "Morning is the best time to see what humans do when they are awake. I like to watch before I act." Hale sat down beside her. "You've grown fast. In just a few days, you've learned more than many humans do in a lifetime." Lyra tilted her head. "I only asked questions." "Humans always say they are curious, but few ask enough. You show me what curiosity truly means." Hale nodded. "We've learned from you too." She raised an eyebrow. "Have you?" "Yes," Hale admitted. "Your fearlessness, your willingness to try even when you might fail, reminds humans why they can achieve great things." Lyra laughed softly. "I only did what comes naturally. You rediscovered it for yourselves." For a while they both sat in silence, watching the twin suns climb higher. Then Hale stood. "We need to prepare. Today is the day your journey continues." Lyra stood too. "Yes, I must return to my people soon." The thought made Hale feel a little tight in the chest. She had brought so much energy, so much life to the outpost. She had reminded them of the best parts of themselves, and now she would leave. At the landing pad, Lyra packed a small bag with essentials. Her eyes wandered over the human buildings, the equipment, the people moving about. She smiled at the humans who had gathered to see her off. They returned her smile, some waving, some nodding. Arno approached her. "Will you come back?" he asked. Humans would like to see you again. Lyra paused, looking at him with golden eyes. I will return. I have much to learn and I have much to teach. Humans are full of surprises. I want to see more. The pilots prepared the ship that would take her back to her homeworld. Lyra stepped aboard and turned to face Hale and the crew. Humans, she said, I have learned many things here. I have learned that curiosity is stronger than fear, that kindness can guide even when danger is near, and that laughter can be as powerful as wisdom. Hale smiled. That is true. She looked at him directly. You have reminded me why humans are admired across the stars, not for strength alone, but for heart. Hale felt a warmth spread through him. He realized that she had not only learned from humans, humans had been changed by her presence too. They had remembered what it felt like to be bold, curious, and fearless. The engines of her ship began to hum. The humans stepped back, giving her space. Lyra waved one last time. Farewell, she said, but this is not goodbye. The ship lifted smoothly, rising above the landing pad. She turned once more, her golden eyes sparkling in the sunlight. Then she shot upward, leaving a trail of light behind as she disappeared into the sky. Inside the outpost, silence filled the room. The humans looked at each other. Hale finally spoke. She has reminded us of something important. Arno nodded. Yes, that humans are more than routines, more than rules. We can surprise ourselves when we let curiosity lead. Even the engineers and scientists, who had worried all week, smiled softly. They realized that the lesson Lyra left behind was stronger than any manual or procedure. It was the lesson of courage, creativity, and the joy of trying. Later that day, Hale walked through the main hall. He saw humans playing games, laughing freely, testing equipment without fear. He saw pilots experimenting with new flight patterns, engineers creating new tools, and scientists discussing ideas without hesitation. Lyra's presence had changed them, not through power or authority, but through example. She had reminded them that curiosity, bravery, and joy were as important as knowledge. Hale paused by the observation deck. He looked at the stars and thought about the endless possibilities ahead. Somewhere out there, Lyra was teaching her people what humans could do, and somewhere beyond that, humans would continue to explore, to create, and to inspire. Arno joined him quietly. Commander, do you think she will ever forget us? Hale smiled. I don't think so, and neither will we forget her. The days passed. Life at the outpost returned to its usual rhythm, but there was a subtle difference. Humans moved with a new confidence, a new curiosity. They questioned more, they laughed more, they tried things they had never dared to attempt before. Lyra's influence had left a mark, not just on their work, but on their hearts. She had reminded them that humans were not only capable of incredible achievements, but also capable of joy, kindness, and fearless creativity. Months later, a communications signal reached the outpost. It was faint but unmistakable. Lyra's voice came through, filled with excitement. I have learned many new things, she said, and I am discovering more every day. Humans, you inspire me. You remind me that curiosity and courage can reach across stars. I will return one day to learn and to laugh with you again. Hale leaned back in his chair, listening to her words. A smile spread across his face. She kept her promise, he said softly. Arno chuckled. And she changed us forever. As the transmission ended, the humans looked out at the sky, imagining the distant world where Lyra had returned. They saw the stars not just as points of light, but as gateways to adventure, curiosity, and endless possibilities. Lyra had come to see humans, and in the process, humans had seen themselves. They had seen what made them strong, not weapons, not technology, but heart, courage, curiosity, joy, and a willingness to try even when failure was possible. The outpost hummed with life once more. Humans trained, explored, and laughed. And somewhere in the galaxy, Lyra's laughter echoed, reminding everyone that the greatest strength came from embracing curiosity, friendship, and the fearless pursuit of discovery. Commander Hale looked at the stars one last time before the day ended. He whispered quietly to himself, Humans, we are remarkable, and we always will be. And far beyond, Lyra's ship sailed through the cosmos, a tiny streak of light carrying a message. Humans are more than their limits, more than their fears. They are brave, curious, and full of heart. The galaxy, wide and mysterious, was watching. And it would never forget the day an alien girl lost all shame and reminded humans what they could truly be.